Howdy friends, welcome back to another vlog. My name is Abby and this is Type 9 Studio, where I help you start and grow your Etsy shop into a small business. I've been a full-time seller on Etsy for 2 years, and today I am working half of the day on Type 9 Studio stuff and then the other half on my shop. So I will get to why in a second. I usually try not to do both in one day because it's kind of hard for me to switch gears, especially if I've taken my ADHD medicine. Like, I will focus on one thing per day. The big focus this week for my shop in particular is actually I was accepted into a consignment shop, not locally, but where I used to live. I used to live in Kentucky, and I'm trying to like frame this to where it makes sense. So I posted a video, like one of the first few on this channel, talking about my small business story, like how I got started on Etsy. And I mentioned in that video that I did my first craft show because of this lady that I met at my old job at the craft store. She, like, through the pandemic and everything, because she used to do a lot of craft shows, and she switched over to a brick and mortar store near where we lived in Kentucky. And this store is in a very popular spot, like in the area that I lived in. And then she has a second location, like in a more low-key area. It's not really relevant, but there are 2 retail locations and she is going to consign my products. I made a list on my spreadsheet, like the same spreadsheet that I have my inventory and like pricing and everything on, and I made a list of everything that I want to send to her because I'm gonna have to mail it because I'm very far away to drive. And I did some research because I actually mailed something for my husband, and I didn't realize that there is a cap on what you can declare the value or like buy insurance for on a package. So I looked up that value, and I'm going to try to stay under that so I can insure the package in case something happens. And probably take pictures of all the contents, that way in case something happens as well. I'm like paranoid about sending this much stuff. I can probably do a whole video about like wholesale and consignment if you want. Like, leave me a comment and let me know. I think somebody mentioned that they want to know more about it before, so let me know if you want to see that as well. They're 2 very different things. So wholesaling is where somebody just buys the product from you at a discounted price to then sell for the full retail price. But then consignment, you just kind of loan your products to them, and if they sell, great. If they don't, you get them back. So usually wholesale is like 50-50, like you get 50% of the retail and then they get 50%, but it can depend. Like, I've seen some people do like 60-40 or 70-30. It just depends on, you know, your agreement. Like, it's totally up to you, in like your agreement with the other business. Which actually I got a wholesale order for another shop that I have previously sold to, so I have to get that one out as well. I told them it would be like the end of the month before I get it because of this big consignment order, and then I have other orders and my stuff with Type 9 Studio as well. And they just paid the invoice today, so I can officially like start that as soon as I'm ready to. There are significantly different profit margins, although the profit margin, I did the math on this like before I even started and like agreed to do the consignment thing, was I looked at my profit margins for selling on Etsy versus their consignment fee, because the consignment fee for this shop is either $200 minimum or 35%, whichever is higher. So if I don't sell anything at all, I have to pay them $200 just like as rent for my stuff being there, which is totally understandable. But if I sell like more than $200 worth of the fee, then I have to pay like more. So whatever the 35% ends up being. But like the margin for that is actually not that much different than Etsy. You would think that the consignment at 35% fee would be higher than, like the profit margin for that would be lower, I guess, than the profit margin for Etsy would be. But you have to take into consideration that you don't have to buy packaging. Besides, like, I mean, if you have like labels on your stuff, yeah, but you don't have to buy like a mailer or a box or anything. You don't have to include an order insert or your business card or whatever. You don't have to package anything yourself. You don't have to merchandise it. You don't have to spend time like advertising it. Like, they do require it to post on social media, but like other than that, it's not that much work. Like, they do pretty much everything after I send it to them. And there's no listing fee. I only pay the fee if something sells besides the $200 minimum. And I don't have to worry about factoring in free shipping because there's no shipping involved since it is a brick and mortar store. So like if I have products that are over $35 and I sell them on Etsy, I immediately lose part of that in the shipping cost. So there's none of that with the consignment stuff, although I do have to factor in like the total amount that it's going to cost me to like actually mail the stuff, because it's probably going to be pretty expensive. I think it's going to be a heavy package. So I'm just sending a few of everything, though mostly not really everything, but just the things that we agreed on, because they do have a consignment contract that I have to follow, so I can't just send whatever I want. I have to get approval to send the stuff. So I'm sending at least 4 of everything, and then like a few more of things that I know are bestsellers for me, like especially in person, so that they can split them evenly between the 2 stores. So like 2 of each thing can go to each store, or if they want to put it all in the 1 store, I'm really not sure what they're going to do with it. And they do require that I have a barcode on things, so I'm going to have to redo my product labels a little bit. In the past 2 days, what I have been doing, I can't believe I moved a lot of this stuff. Like I didn't have enough time to deal with it before I moved, but I keep these giant like plastic tote bins, and I had like 3 or 4 of those full of scraps of my fabric that I use that were usable for something else, but I just needed to like iron them, because you know how fabric comes like folded in half on the thing, and I didn't want to deal with ironing the folded part, so I've been like trying to iron some of that. Or there's pieces that I cut wrong, like it was supposed to be 8 inches and I cut it 7 inches or something. Then I just made those into something else. So I've been going through all that, and I think I got rid of like a whole box worth of that fabric that I'm going to repurpose into, not really repurpose, but just kind of recuperate, I guess. I don't know what I should call that. But making it into like assortment packs of stuff, because some of it is things that I've discontinued or that the manufacturer has discontinued and I can't buy the fabric anymore, so I'm just kind of putting it into assortment bundles. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm gonna have a lot of sewing to do, like today and tomorrow and probably into Friday. I was gonna try to get the stuff shipped out on Friday, but it might have to be Monday at this point because it's a lot. And also I noticed yesterday that I need to be wearing a mask when I sew and cut fabric, because there's so much dust and lint, especially because I use flannel, and flannel is very dusty. And I am looking into buying a air purifier, like a, yeah, that's what they're called, right? Air purifier for this room, because it is going to be so bad. I need to change our AC filter anyways. I still have some more fabric to cut though, and I am running very low on a lot of my fabric. Like I just kind of looked at my stash there, and my shelves used to be pretty full, like cram-packed, and they're about half. Probably going to be less than that by the time I get done cutting what I need to for these orders. So yeah, I'm going to look into a reorder of a lot of fabric. And one of my goals for last week was to make a list of everything that I need to finish this room, like not really decorations, but just storage stuff, and also the storage room that I'm going to have be my warehouse. So I have been looking for these shelves, but I have these shelves from IKEA, the Ivar shelves that were in the background of my old videos at my old house. And I've been trying to buy more of those because it's a really modular system. You can just add whatever pieces you want, like however many shelves, and the side wall things are all separate, so you can just configure it however you want, which is really cool. But there is like a wood shortage or something, and IKEA is consistently out of them. They came back in stock for maybe a few days this past month, and then they were like almost immediately out again. So I'm glad that I checked before we went up there, because that's like a 2-hour drive to IKEA. But I was looking for similar shelves. I like those because they're really narrow. They're only 12 inches deep, and that room is so small. If I have really deep shelves, there's not going to be any room for me to walk in there. So I was looking for similar shelves, like similar style to those. I don't need like the big industrial ones or like the metal shelves or anything. That's going to be way too much. But I came across somebody who had plans, like building plans on YouTube to build shelves that were very similar, and they're customizable as well. You can just like make the shelves as deep as you want or make them as tall as you want. So I actually one day I sat down and drew out a plan and like made a list of exactly oh, my phone vibrated, it was really loud. I made a list of exactly what materials and like how many boards I need of which sizes, and did the pricing and everything, and it would be actually cheaper to build it myself. The boards come in like the right length to begin with, so I wouldn't have to cut that many of them, because like the shelves I want to be 8 feet long and the boards come 8 feet long. So that seems to work pretty well. Okay, so I need to get started on, oh, it's 12:30. Okay, I thought it was like 1. I need to get started on the shop review. I'll get that done first and edit and upload today's video, and then start cutting the rest of the fabric, I suppose. So I will see you. It's a couple days after I filmed that last part, and I have been kind of steady working on this, but also kind of not, so I'm a bit behind. So I am, hello, this is hard. So I'm doing like actual vlog style right now and holding my tripod in my hands, and it's going very well, as you can see. So I'm going to turn it around and show you the state of my office as much as I can, because this camera is plugged into the wall. I'm running low on fabric. The solid colors are decent, but some of the prints I am way running out of. So I'm going to plan for an order of fabric sometime, and this section is not changed much. I just have that stuff kind of in the middle of the floor, and then the cutting table is just full of stuff, and then there's like the scraps in the floor. Since I have so much to do, I thought I would talk a little bit while I'm finishing off the edges of these. It has been a challenge to figure out what exactly to send, because they didn't give me an exact amount or like an order of things, like an order of what they want. I want to open the window today. It's like 68 degrees outside, and I am learning. So I just moved to Georgia a few months ago. When I lived in Kentucky, if it's like 68, 70 degrees outside, you probably need a jacket. But here, absolutely not. It's like shorts weather at 68 degrees. So, figuring that out. And then I looked on my computer. It has the, like on the taskbar, it has the temperature and then like the weather indicator. So like there's a sun if it's sunny, a cloud if it's rainy, you know, all that fun stuff. And I looked at it today and it was just a flame. I was like, what the heck does that mean? And apparently there's like fire warning, so that's why the air quality is bad. And I kind of don't want to open the window, because like if the air quality is bad, I cough and it burns my eyeballs, so I'm trying not to do that. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I need something to talk about while I'm filming myself. So I mentioned in previous vlogs that I'm like working on a second business, even though it's technically my third because of Type 9 Studios the second. Boy, I just have not had time to work on that at all, and I wanted to start that like mainly because I thought I had time, because my main shop wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't doing well, but it wasn't doing well because I wasn't working on it. And I thought I had time. No, it turns out when I actually work on my shop and like put effort into it, I make sales. So, like this month, I have made, like I have a minimum that my shop needs to make in order for me to be able to like pay my bills, and then also like my overhead costs at the very least. And I made that this month for the first time in like 2 months. I was a little bit behind, and so I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could like meet my goal amount if I actually put effort into it. It just feels so weird because I tell you guys to constantly be working on your shop, constantly doing stuff, but it's hard to do that myself. Like I know what it looks like from the outside, but just like actually doing it, I'm like, oh gosh. And having new products has kind of slowed down as well, because I didn't have that much income coming in and I had to cover my overhead and, you know, pay my bills and everything. I did manage to save myself a bit on overhead. I deactivated, or like I canceled my Hootsuite subscription, which is like $350 a year, and then they just increased the price, and I didn't really use that much, so I was like, that's a no-brainer. I can get rid of that, because what I used it for was to schedule out Instagram posts, but it doesn't even save me that much time, because the only Instagram posts that you could automatically post with it were single picture posts, and those do absolutely nothing on Instagram. Like, it's pointless to post a single picture on Instagram now. At the bare minimum, it has to be a carousel. If not, if not a carousel, like with multiple pictures, it has to be a reel. There's no other way around it. So it's kind of pointless, because if you post a carousel with it, you can schedule it, but then you have to go in and manually post it yourself anyways. All it does is save the pictures in your caption. So that was like $29 a month I saved, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is, you know, if you're like coming down to the wire. I mean, like with my average order value, that's like one whole order pretty much. But some good news, I just applied for monetization for this channel, so I just reached the 4,000 hour watch time requirement. And I had an AdSense account from my other, like my main channel that I don't post on anymore. I haven't posted on it in several months. But I had an AdSense account because there used to be pretty lax rules on who could be monetized. So I had monetization on my channel for a while, and then they changed the requirements. But I never reached the threshold to get a payout, because you have to have $100 in the account to, like, for them to pay it. And I have had like $43 sitting in there for years. So I will get that eventually once I get the next $100. Oh, this is terrible. I messed up on that one. Okay. If you're wondering what these are reusable cotton rounds that I have in my shop. So just cutting off the edges from the serger. I used to just whack them off, like just cut, but then they unravel, so I don't know how I got away with that for so long. Like even the ones I made for myself, I didn't really take the time to do it correctly, because when I first got my serger and started making these, they were really, really bad. It took a long time to figure out like how to get this rounded square shape. It just has to be like a muscle memory thing, because most of the first ones I made were like teardrop shaped, and I couldn't figure out how to make them like this, but eventually I got it. And I saved those crappy ones for myself to use, and I still use them. And I just like would hack the string off, and then I don't know how they haven't all unraveled yet. I try to do this in sections because I pull it with my nail and my finger, and it could like make my finger sore sometimes if I do it a lot. So I'm going to do this batch and then sew some more, and then finish off the edges of those later. I wish there was a better way, but this is probably the fastest. Because some people will take this tail and then put it in like a big yarn needle and then stick it back through the stitching, but I've tried that and it takes forever to even thread the needle with it, so it's just pointless. Like I have to make so many of these that would take way too long, and like my fingers would be even worse if I had to do that. And something else kind of exciting, I don't know if you can't really see it back there, kind of. Yeah, kind of. My serger, this one, I am switching thread. So I used to have, well, I still kind of do, have polyester thread because it was the cheapest and the easiest for me to get, because Joann's keeps a lot of it, so I could just go in the store whenever it was on sale and buy a bunch. But I wanted something more sustainable and like actually that would biodegrade, and of course polyester is plastic basically, so that's not going to biodegrade, and I kind of feel bad about like making so many of these with it, but it was just, to me it was a trade-off between cost effectiveness and like accessibility of the products versus having it be like absolutely perfect sustainable. So I decided to finally switch to a plant-based thread, and apparently like actual cotton thread is so expensive, and I use it for like my regular sewing machine, but it's just like, wait, I have to use so much. Like clearly, as you can see, like these take a lot of thread, and the thing holds 4 at a time. And then spools, like the smaller ones, like this one, you can't see that at all, no. Like this one is almost full. I just put that on there. It came like that, about that size. And it would be like $12 or $13 for one of those that's cotton, but then they didn't come in very many colors. And it's a conspiracy, like, I guess, I don't know, just a conspiracy for me, but cotton thread isn't always actually cotton. Most of the time it's cotton spun with polyester, but they don't tell you that on the packaging. So it's pretty hard to find like actual 100% cotton that's not mixed with polyester in some way. And I bought some. It is Tencel thread, which is from cellulose. I think it's from some kind of like pulp cellulose, something or other, but it is totally plant-based. So I am slowly switching over to that. It's like one, if you can see, not really, like the last one over there that's really big is that, and then the rest of them are still polyester. So I'm trying to just use up what I already had. Going back to the second business, whatever it's called, I think I'm going to put that on the back burner for now, just until I get like back on track with the first one, which it kind of has been on the back burner, but I've been feeling guilty about not doing anything with it. But like there's nothing there. I don't have a customer base. Like it's not even off the ground, so I don't need to be worrying about it. I have so much I want to do with my first one, like, get the Shopify done and get new product put out. One of my goals for the rest of this weekend, today's Saturday. I was supposed to post this video today, but I did not, obviously. One of my goals is to make a new list of the new products that I want to make and plan for the new prints. Like just go through Joann's and just pick some and like figure out how much it's going to cost and save up that amount so that I can order. So I kind of want to place just like one giant order and just have it all at once, but I don't know if it's going to work that way. I might just do like a monthly thing. I think maybe every month, if I have the budget to order more, great. I will just pick a few new prints. But I just like photographing and making everything at the same time so I don't have to keep going back and forth. And the photos are consistent and blah, 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 but I'll just have to do it as I go because I made that mistake last year of ordering way too much new product or new materials and then didn't have time to do anything with it. And I put all that on my credit card and I'm still paying for it because I didn't release the products to like recuperate the money. So don't do what I did. Honestly, I feel like I am still holding out. So if you don't know my background story, like within the past couple years, my husband left for military training at the beginning of 2020. And then I quit my job in March 2020 to be able to like run my business full time, do it while I was still living with my parents and we didn't have any bills. And that of course went sideways because of, what else happened in March 2020. But it worked out because I jumped on the mask train, but the mask train has been decommissioned. Like, I want to say like it has left the station, but it has been decommissioned. Like, it is broken down on the side of the road or on the side of the tracks, getting turned into scrap metal. So that's not happening anymore. But I was just kind of like, I was holding out. And then, I was trying not to do like too much and get too in over my head with it. So, because I didn't think I could handle like a lot of business. Like, I don't know how people handle like hundreds of orders a day by themselves. But then toward the end of, like middle to end of 2021, so last year, I was like, you know what? I need to like just start making more money. Like I need to just get over that and do it. And so I bought a bunch of this stuff like I was mentioning a second ago. And then, what do you know? In December 2021, he came home finally. And then we moved into this house in January of 2022. And then, of course, with the move being so far away and like difficult trying to find a place here, that just got pushed off, like all the new product. And then I still like just have that feeling like I'm holding out, or like I'm almost afraid of like what my potential is. I know that's weird to say, but I have no reason to because I'm here in this house. I have plenty of space to work, and I am legally allowed to have one employee in my house per like the city regulation. So if that comes to it, I could try to hire somebody to help. I'm looking at these because I made them a long time ago and the stitching is not 100% great, but also like I want to just get rid of them. Sometimes I will undo the stitching and redo it if it's really bad. But when I first made these, I didn't know how to adjust the tension on my sewing machine. Like, nobody else would notice if you don't know about sewing or like how stitching should look, but I'm just like, oh. It's now Tuesday and I am kind of in a hurry to get this stuff done. I didn't even like try to adjust the camera, so I'm squatting on the floor. It is what it is. So let me show you what I have left. So I just have that stuff there, that's like half done, and then this pile, and that is it to sew. Okay, I got a chair because squatting was not gonna happen. Yesterday I made my plan for at least the first 2 weeks of April. So it's a pretty big month for my shop. Did I talk about this earlier in this video? Hopefully I didn't. But April is Earth Month and my shop is all about eco-friendly and like waste reducing products. So that's a good month for me. Well, April and July for Plastic-Free July. And then April is also Autism Acceptance Month, and as you may or may not know, I am autistic, so I might do a video on this channel at some point in April talking about that. I've like mentioned it a few times, but I need to like sit down and collect my thoughts about it and do like a Q&A thing, so I want to give you guys some time to ask questions. April's gonna be pretty busy, and then some of my family is coming to visit as well, so I'm gonna try to pre-schedule the stuff that I need to post for like that long weekend that they're coming, and try to get just a back stock of product built up because my storage is empty. I was gonna rush and make some more storage shelves, but after these like big wholesale orders, and my shop kind of had like a little bit of a growth spurt there from a TikTok video, and now my back stock of things that are like ready-made is gone. And I ordered one new fabric print. I ordered 5 bolts of it. Usually like the most I've ever gotten of one print is 4, and I ran out of it, so I think I'm going to start ordering like 5 or 6 from now on. And that I just ordered it yesterday, the day before, so it might be here by the end of the week. I don't really know. I want to start doing like 4 prints per month, but that takes money up front to get that, and I need to keep with the new products, because I can tell you guys, it really does help your shop if you have constantly new stuff, and even for your repeat customers too. Like if you always just have the same stuff and don't have anything new, then they don't really have much incentive to buy stuff. But I do not want to do what I did last year. I made the huge mistake of just buying way too much stock of stuff, and I bought a lot of mask fabric, and of course masks are just downhill. Like I have an order for one today that has to go out tomorrow, and that's about it. But I do have a plan for some of the fabric that I had for masks, so I think I can cut the pieces that I already had cut out, just cut them like one more time and make this other new product with, so it's not going to be that big of a waste. Anyways, like I was saying with the new products, I'm not going to go crazy like ordering a bunch on my credit card and stuff to try to like give myself a little like cash injection, if you will, even though it's not really cash, but whatever. Because I did that last year and it didn't exactly work out just because of everything else that was going on at the end of last year. So I think from now on I'm going to try to just save like in my actual budget for the shop, like what I can afford to buy. And so I had like the exact amount that I needed to order those 5 bolts of the one fabric, and then if I have more next month, great, I'll order some more. And with the consignment shop, I have this product, so this, well, not that, but this stack of stuff is going to be reusable bags, and these they're one of my first products that I had in my shop, and they just did not do well on Etsy, but every time I bring them to a craft show, they do amazing. So I'm just going to like make some of them now, like about half of what I have, and then send them to the consignment shop, and then hopefully they sell well for them, and you know, I can send the rest of them, because I don't want to order this kind of fabric anymore. I'm trying to go for like actually more eco-friendly fabrics, and some of these are from that one craft store that it's kind of controversial. I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about, that I used to work for. So I'm can't get any more of those prints. So my husband should be home in like an hour or 2, so I need to get going, just like get started sewing some stuff. When I sew flannel now, I have been wearing a mask, and I think I'm going to sew everything but the flannel. That way I don't have to wear the mask just yet, because I kind of want to film some more for the vlog today, and the mask is going to mess all this up. And I have a few orders to get out today. I was going to just finish the wholesale orders and then do the Etsy orders, but I was like, if I'm just going to sew the same kind of stuff anyways, I'm just going to do it all at the same time and then take out what I need for the Etsy orders. I try as much as I can to do the production style sewing, where I basically just keep sewing instead of stopping to cut the thread, but on some things like this where I do like a little corner, I have to stop and cut it, or else it doesn't work very well. When I made these bags, it was one of the first few things that I made, and I did not really take the time to make it or make the design as efficient as it could be, so it takes a bit longer for me to sew these. Then of course it looks like I had to stop and rethread it or do something with the machine. I really need to invest in proper industrial sewing machines. And this one was like $200 and it has lasted me forever. So I don't have any rush to buy one. Knock on wood that this one is going to last me for a little while longer. One important part of maintaining your business is to focus on things that go well for you and get rid of things that don't. So these bags are definitely a pain point for me. I have had these same ones cut out for like 2 years now, and they just don't sell very well because I don't do that many in-person events. So I am hoping that they do very well for this consignment shop and I can just get rid of them and move on because they're not very efficient for me to make. And I think the labor, that people don't want to pay the labor rate for these because it takes me so long to make them. So I'm almost losing money on these, and at this point I just want to get rid of the fabric and move on, do something else. I have Christmas ones too, and the only time I've sold a significant amount of them was at an in-person show, which was a one-time thing, and I sell maybe a handful here and there during Christmas on Etsy. But other than that, I'm just sitting there with the listings renewing and costing me money and not selling. So once those are gone, I'm going to not have these bags anymore. This type of fabric doesn't really kick up much dust, but this type does. This is flannel, and I have started wearing masks because I don't want to be breathing all that dust or the lint from the machine, because after I'm done, especially with black, I can see it on the white table, and I can see that there is just an accumulation after a few minutes of dust that was floating in the air. I also wear an earbud and one earplug. That way the noise from the machine doesn't damage my hearing or make them ring after a long day of sewing, and I can actually hear things when I take them off. It's now Thursday and I have so much to do today. It's 1 o'clock and I meant to wake up with my husband at like 7. Did not happen. I just now got like my makeup done and breakfast and everything, so I'm going to be working pretty late tonight. I still need to finish the first order for the consignment shop, and I was working on that a little bit yesterday. I got my Etsy orders out yesterday, and then I was trying to make the barcode labels, and I figured out a way to do it, but it's taking a little bit of time. I still have a few things to finish up sewing for that, but it shouldn't take too long to finish all the sewing. And then I have the second actual wholesale order that I still need to do that I don't have too much to do for that either. I'm trying to get them both in the mail tomorrow. And I think I have a few Etsy orders to go out tomorrow as well. I think yesterday or maybe the day before I finished switching over. You can't really see it back there because of this. Or no, it's this isn't the way. But I finished switching over the thread, so I have all of the new thread now in my serger. I don't have any more of the old polyester style left, so now all of this is the Tencel thread. And my order came in for the new fabric, so I will get that opened up and put that on my schedule to do the new listings with the new fabric. I'm just going to try to fit getting these orders out and like packaging them up and ending the video when I package them up, because this is taking way too long and I want to get a move on with the content on this channel, but I haven't been able to do any more content for the channel because of the orders and trying to get those out. So I got monetized and then I haven't posted any new videos, so I'm not making any money yet. So I think my first priority today is going to be getting the content filmed and everything for my shop, because I can do other stuff later on. And then I will finish sewing and figure out what's going on with the barcodes and the tags and everything. I have a feeling it's going to take me the longest is putting tags on everything, because like I have a bunch of scrunchies and stuff that I'm sending and I have to put tags on all of them. And normally if I sell them in my shop, I don't put tags on them unless it's like a bundle of something, then I wrap it and put like a little tag on. But yeah, it's going to take a while. This is the point where I started getting a bit tired and just wanted to be done with the whole thing. So I was almost done and I have to do the final step of sewing these bags so I can put the drawstrings in them. And now for the best part, I will finish up the drawstrings. So I turn the bags right side out, put the drawstrings in, and this is pretty mind-numbing and repetitive. and it doesn't make any sound like the sewing machine, so I can take this time to maybe call my family and talk to them for a little bit, or just find something else to do. Okay, this is the final countdown, and I am making a lot of strings to tie the tags onto these, so I'm going to show you how I do that quickly and efficiently. I started to do this the hard way, like just cutting each piece, but I remember that I do this with my mask elastic, so I'll take a piece of cardboard that is half as long as the string needs to be, and I'll just wrap that around however many times I need, or just as many as I possibly can, because I needed a lot this time. I clip the end on with one of my sewing clips. You can use a clothespin, whatever, binder clip, it doesn't matter. And then once you're done, you will cut the end, put another clip on there. Now you're going to take your scissors and lay that down on the table and cut just straight across like so. After you clear off the table, of course, magic. Just cut, cut, cut all the way across there. It is kind of difficult to jam the scissors in there, as you can see me struggling, but this is still a lot faster than cutting them all individually. But make sure you know exactly how long they need to be, because I ended up cutting these all in half because they're way too long anyways. Now that everything is cut, now it's time for the actual assembly process, and I actually finished this order on this day, and this is also how my carpal tunnel came back, so I do not recommend trying to do this much in one day. I had the order all prepared and laid everything out on the table, so that way I knew exactly what I needed to package up and didn't forget anything. I just went back through my list and kind of pulled everything out of the shelves and the bins that I had it sorted in. My room and storage room was a disaster before this, and now it's actually pretty clean. I try to be extremely careful with what I was putting the tags on, because a few times I accidentally put the wrong tag on the wrong thing, and luckily I caught it, but that would have been a little bit embarrassing and difficult also for the store that I'm sending it to, because it would have been the wrong product. And not so fun fact, but the day after this, I believe, I ended up having an Etsy order that was late, even though the same person ordered twice on the same day, and they put in my code for a free shipping on one, so I could ship them together and they didn't have to pay twice. But it marked one of them as late and the other one not, even though they were within like an hour of each other. And I shipped them at the same time, but it still said late, so I'm kind of salty about that. And that did throttle my shop. I am almost certain, I mean, I can't prove it, but I am pretty sure, because I did not have any orders for 2 days straight. So I think it had something to do with it. Like, I shipped late and they were like, oh, nope, I'm not going to recommend your shop anymore. Even though this order took weeks for me to do, I think it will help in the long run, especially if I send more stuff to that store and I know exactly what I need to do and how the process could be more efficient, like printing the tags beforehand and putting them on as I make the things, instead of having to sit like this for like 10 hours and tying each individual tag. Because with the bags and things with drawstrings, I could have just put the tag on the actual drawstring before I tied it, and then the customer can just rip it off of there, instead of me having to put an extra string on there, because I didn't want to just untie everything. I felt like that would take a lot more time and be difficult for my fingers. It is finally time to package up the box, and I just took my computer over to the table and double checked the counts of everything to make sure that the quantity that I said was in there was actually in there, and that way they had a list of all the SKU numbers and everything. And it actually did not fit in that one box, so I had to use a second box for the scrunchies and the straws. I didn't want the straw tags to get bent up because those are kind of heavy, so I thought maybe the scrunchies would be a good place to put those, and it ended up not being extremely expensive to ship these. The big box was like, I think $40, but I bought insurance on it, which costs as much as the shipping cost, which was totally fine. I would gladly pay that versus having to risk something happening to the box. But the little one only costs like $12 or $13, so it wasn't too big of a deal. This box actually had the fabric that I ordered earlier that I mentioned, and it was the perfect size for what I needed. So I'm super happy I didn't have to go buy one, because that's just like an extra cost to me. And I tried to avoid extra cost as well with my barcodes, so I just printed them on cardstock instead of buying like the barcode sticker label things, because that would have cost a bit more as well. But I think it worked out in the end, and I hope that this stuff does well at the consignment shop. Thank you for watching and coming on this journey with me, and hopefully the next one goes a bit smoother and doesn't take quite as long as this one, but it was a learning experience.